All right. Welcome everyone back again. We're going to get rolling here with our unopposed races. We have two of those going on, one in the township, one in the city. And those are they're very important positions. So I will have each of the candidates introduce themselves here momentarily. But versus myself asking questions on this, I would hope that maybe you might have some questions for these two gentlemen, and you can come up, or you can again write them down on index cards and hand those to me. I'll be happy to read those questions as well. But up on the stage right now we have Mr. Gregory A. Brush. Write it all out. He will be, assuming elected by you, the new fiscal officer for Butler Township, and Mr. Richard Herbst, who is also running for mayor within the city of Vandalia. Both unopposed races, but yet it's still important to get votes. So, and what we're going to do, gentlemen, go ahead and share your visions, what you're hoping to get accomplished within your positions once elected. So please go ahead.
Well, I'm Richard Herbst, and I'm running for mayor of Vandalia. I've lived here pretty much my entire life. I'm married. My wife Holly's here, I think. Yep, she's back there. Been married for 25 years this past September. We have two boys, Rick and Jack, and they're both graduates of Vandalia Butler. Ricky just graduated this past spring from Otterbein University, and my youngest son, Jack, is a junior at UC. Professionally, I'm a real estate agent here in Vandalia. I'm an owner of the Keller Williams franchise here local. Our current office is down on Dixie next to the Do-It-All hardware store, and we just recently purchased a building at 300 West National, and we're hoping to have that renovated and move in there hopefully around the middle of December. The past 4 years I've served on city council, and the last 2 years I've served actually as vice mayor. Prior to that, I served 11 years on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I chaired that committee for probably 5 or 6 years. Our family is active members in First Light Church here in Vandalia. I'm also a member and active with the Vandalia Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club of Vandalia, and I've also served on their board. As far as my vision, and this is going to be a long answer here if we're going to just start with one question and go. For the last year, we've been working on the comprehensive plan here in Vandalia, and we've had probably close to 2,000 respondents, whether through the direct surveys or people that have participated in the open forum groups that we've had. So we've gotten a lot of good information from them on what they see the direction of Vandalia going. So I think as a council, our responsibility is to represent the citizens and do what they want. So the citizens are clearly speaking to us about what they want to see Vandalia, and they want to see the direction that it goes. So I think, again, our job is to implement that and move that forward. As far as specifics on what the citizens are telling us, the most important thing that we're getting out of the surveys are that they want to improve the appearance of our downtown. I've heard that pretty much ever since I've lived in Vandalia. And I think it's time that we start trying to make some headway there. They want us to identify and grow the downtown, and that kind of goes hand in hand. And whether that means rehabilitating properties or redeveloping some of the properties, I think we need to start making steps in that direction to make something happen. Because, like I said, I've heard this the whole time I've been in Vandalia. And I think it's time to start taking the bull by the horn and listening to the people and doing what it takes to do that. Now, a lot of times people will ask, well, how are you going to do that? Well, number one, Vandalia doesn't own these properties. So it's up to the property owners to invest in themselves to help fix up some of these properties. And I would be a proponent of a Community Reinvestment Act, where we start building into Vandalia's budget funds every year to help some of these businesses update their properties and then receive a tax abatement for it. So they get some benefit from it, but then the citizens of Vandalia get the benefit of having a nicer community. And really, the other thing that continually comes up is they want our downtown to be more pedestrian friendly. They want it to be more walkable, bicycle friendly. So it's a lot of basic things that I think that has come from the comprehensive plan that I think it's reasonable and doable.
Good evening. My name's Greg Brush. I am currently working for the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts office. I'm the chief administrator down there. I almost hate to tell you this because 20 years ago, I ran for what was called the clerk in Butler Township, which has now become the fiscal officer position. The reason I hate to tell you that, I just don't want to admit how old I'm getting. So I have been in elected office since 1999. In 2007, I was appointed to the Montgomery County Clerk of Courts office, where I stayed until transitioning down to Hamilton County. I live on Brantford Road with my wife, Kim. The second time we lived on Brantford Road, she had me move away from there for a little bit, then she drugged me back to Brantford. But we love the township. We love being involved in the township. I am a nerd at heart. I don't mind telling you that. I love the numbers. I love getting into the nitty-gritty. Fortunately, I was appointed, Mr. Flanagan appointed me to the Citizens Budget Committee when it was formed. I'm not the only one, obviously, there. We have Sherry Edwards, Jack Woods, Mike Tyne, Greg Stevens, and myself are the citizens that volunteer on that review the budget. We actually speak with the department heads, look at their needs, and make recommendations. Then the trustees will act off of that. Like I said, I love the numbers, love getting into it. Currently, our budget down in Hamilton County is $12 million a year, and it is on a basically paperclip and a prayer that we get by every year down there. It's quite different than here in Montgomery County. So what I believe we need to do is really what the Budget Commission has started to do. We are way too economically of a diverse community and solidly economically to get in the position we got in 2 years ago, where we were close to not even having enough police officers to safely patrol our streets. That was ridiculous. Flat ridiculous that got that way. There was money spent that was, I don't want to get into details unless you want to afterwards. I'll be more than happy to share them with you. But there was money spent on things we could not afford to do. We were on a wing and a prayer. And I know that folks are mad about what the county offer was, but I got to tell you, one of the jobs has either an administrative position or elected position. You have to look at every credible, reliable thing given to you. And I tell you, folks, if the county would have come to me and said, Greg, I will police you for X dollars, and I looked at my line and said, I can barely afford that, and I can't keep doing what I'm doing, if I didn't consider that, I would be doing a grave disservice to this community. That's how bad it got. So without the people stepping up and passing that levy back in the day, we may not like how that came about, how all of that got in the news and everything, but it had to be done. People had to take a hard look at how we were providing services. That was huge, critical. The next area that we're gonna take a hard look at is the service department, quite bluntly. Why we're at full capacity now in employment in there to provide the service, costs keep going up. We have not had the effective millage increases to continue this forever. And one of these days, we're going to have to figure out how we do that. It's coming. Costs go up, levies stay flat. The state makes sure of that. I tell you what, I should have stood up and give a round of applause to the folks from the Board of Education that we're talking here about the state. State stole from the local governments, school boards, townships, and cities to balance their budget. It's really that simple. And that's why you have so many levies that are on the ballot time and time again, because they basically said, well, look at me, I'm going to cut your taxes. They cut your state income tax, took your money from your local government, and then made you have to pass a levy to get your trash picked up and your kids educated. So at the end of the day, they really didn't do you any favors. Again, I apologize. I'm a nerd, so I get into this stuff. So I'd be more than happy to get into that. But again, we are way too economically diverse and stable to get in the situation we were, and I anticipate that we won't. I agree with the assessment. More officers are needed, and I think we can leverage our development to do that in a very practical, sustainable way.
Well, great. Thank you very much. So the vision from our expected future mayor and our expected fiscal officer at Butler Township. So are there any questions from anyone in the room for either of these gentlemen? Any questions? Go ahead, Jen. All right, so the question, so we can hear that across the room, what was the motivation behind you to step up into these roles that you're about to take on?
Well, like I said, I've served the last 4 years on city council, and I've served the last 2 years as vice mayor. So when Mayor Setzer decided that she wasn't going to run again, to me it felt like a natural progression to go ahead and run. I'm not sure if she's in the room anymore, but I would also like to thank Mayor Setzer. Over the past couple of years, she's went out of her way to introduce me to other local leaders throughout the Miami Valley. And I think a lot of the people that she's introduced me to will be a great asset for our community going forward. And lastly, the reason I run is because I love this community. I'm committed to Vandalia, and I want to see Vandalia continue to be one of the most vibrant and desirable places to work and live in the Miami Valley.
Well, as I said, in 1999 I ran, was the first time I had run for any office, and was fortunate enough to get elected as the clerk. And I think that because of behavior that I saw, Ms. Setzer being one of somebody I looked up to that was in a leadership position and made a positive impact on the community, and I wanted to do the same thing. I have a master's degree in public administration, so again, the nerd's strong, so might as well let it out and help be a leader in the community.
Super. Any other questions? Sure. Julie, go ahead.
I asked it of the other candidates, so it's only fair that I ask it of both of you. I think it's important for constituents to know what the salary of your positions are and whether or not you are eligible for other benefits. And if so, we would be picking up, for instance, healthcare.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm embarrassed to tell you this because I just said I was a nerd. I'm not certain, but I know that. But I know it's set by Ohio Revised Code, so it's easy enough to figure out. I think it's about 30. I'm going to guess right there in that number. Townships are unique in that I'll bear actual liability and be bonded a little heavier than other places. So again, I will have that liability on me if things go totally south, and I let them go totally south, which I don't plan on doing. But healthcare is an option through the Teamsters. I'll have to evaluate through Hamilton County. I got to be honest with you, coming from Montgomery County and the nice healthcare, and then going what I have in Hamilton, it's hard to imagine that it's not better at the township. But I'll have to evaluate to see what my best option is.
Our salary is $5,200 a year, and I know that's going to go up a little bit here next year. We are offered health insurance, however, I don't take it, and I'm not sure of any other benefits that we're really entitled to.
Great. Thank you, Julie, for that question. Any other questions? All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this evening. Best wishes for you during the election process. Your expected fiscal officer and city mayor for the city of Vandalia.
So when you step into that booth and you're getting ready to vote for mayor, all I ask is I certainly hope that my name jumps out to you.